OSHA. We want to call the Oceano Advisory Council meeting for May 20th. My gavel. First thing on our agenda here is the roll call. So Aline Villa, Chair, present. Charles Varney.
Present.
April Dury.
Here.
Lucia Castellanovo.
Here.
And Sheila is probably going to join us soon.
Yeah.
Absent for now. Next, I have the flag salute. I'll lead the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
Allegiance to the earth.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Liberty and justice for all.
Next on our, before that, I'd like to do just like a minute of silence for Detective, and can somebody help me out with his last name? He's Italian and his
Isn't it Benedetti?
Benedetti, yes.
Benedetti. His service was today, and I thought it was very beautiful, emotional, and sad. So just a minute of silence. Okay, next on our agenda, I have public comment for items not on the agenda. Again, it's for items not on the agenda. Do we have anyone for public comment for items not on the agenda? I think we have one phone number that I don't recognize, but being none, we'll move on.
Do we want to let Sheila know? There, she unmuted herself.
Is she here?
Yes,
Yeah,
she did.
I see her.
And,
Yeah.
and she's muted again.
Don't see her, but
Um,
can you unmute yourself, Sheila?
There we go.
There we go.
Madam Chair, maybe this would be a good moment to go around and allow people to introduce themselves. We have the new county planning representative, or maybe you had that planned for a different time. I'm not sure.
Oh, I do see her now. No, I think it'd be perfect. Oh, sorry about that.
And who is the other person? Shani.
Well, we're going to go around and introduce ourselves.
Yes, okay, I'll start first. My name is Aline Villa, and I'm a lifelong resident of Oceano and chair of the advisory council.
And I'm Charles Zabarny. I'm vice chair of the advisory council. I have lived here in Oceano for 20 years and very interested in doing what I can to help our community grow in a positive way.
Good evening. My name is Lucia Castellanovo. I've been in Oceano for 32 years. I am here to represent the Oceano Beach Community Association, a nonprofit local group that is concerned with the beautification, livability, and accessibility for our community. Good to see you.
I'm Sheila Eckert. I've been a resident of this community since 1978, but 6 years in Oceano. So welcome, everybody.
I'm April Dury. I'm fabulous, and it's 2 days after tax season. So this is the best you get right now.
Our treasurer.
Naturally.
Makes sense.
So,
Shani, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure thing. Okay, thank you, everybody. That was great. I get to know everybody now from the Oceano, Advisory Council. My name is Shani Siong. I'm a supervisor planner for the coastal team. I've been with the county for, I think, coming to my 9th year now. mostly working on, ever since I started there, I've been working on all coastal projects mostly. And so when the department recently had a reorganization, they basically shifted and started setting up teams and based on the geographically, the geographic zone. So we'll have coastal zone, coastal team now, we'll have an inland team. And then we also have a regional team. The regional team basically takes on projects that has a larger kind of a sphere of influence, like wireless projects, cannabis, those kind of projects, mines, fiber optics, those kind of nature. And then we have the environmental team. So today with me, I have Emi Sugiyama. Emi Sugiyama is a fabulous planner. She's with us for a few years now, but she's taking over Yang Choi's position as the planning liaison. I think everyone knew that Yang Choi left us. It was a very sad day for us. He left us. So with his departure, we're trying to figure out, and I also apologize if there was 1 or 2 months that the council met without any liaison. So I apologize for that, but we basically connected the dots. We had Yang Choi transition all the liaison kind of a role and understanding of how the CAC works. And we brought Emi here and brought her up to speed. And I believe she connected with the chair via email. So I think we're here. We're here and we're going to be working closely with your committee moving forward. So
Awesome.
looking forward to that. And I think Emi is also here. And Emi, would you like to turn on your, I can't
There
see
we go.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, hi. I hope you all can see me okay. But just as Shani said, I work under her. I'm a planner for a few years now. And I'm happy to be here, excited about it.
Thanks.
Well, we're glad to have both of you here very much. We have a lot of work to do together.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, good.
You're muted, Eileen.
Sorry about that. Nice to meet both of you guys. And it's nice to actually meet you after several emails, Emmy, so I could put a face to all the emails. Thank you. So, okay, we'll continue. Next on the agenda, we have guest reports. So we've just got, with county planning first. Emmy, you're a new county planner.
So maybe this is a good segue to ask the council, because we're new and we're taking over from Young. Do you have any type of information that you look to us to provide at your meetings? We can, make sure we take a pulse on those and bring it and summarize it and report to your committee. So what is there any kind of information or type of information or projects that you want us, that you would like to be reported to your committee? Just trying to get a sense of the committee's interests.
All right, Charles.
Well, thank you. Thank you for asking. And I'll say just a couple of things about issues that are important to us and important to the county. And as you know, our job is to report, kind of be taking the pulse of the community of Oceano, which is always a challenge. You hear the people that have a lot of praise or the people that have a lot of complaints, and the great many people who are busy just getting by in their lives. We don't hear much from them, but I mean, that's our job, to do the outreach and do the best job that we can. And there are, well, a number of things that we're working on that very much involve the county. But I can give you 2 examples. One is we're working on a vacation rental ordinance. We are about the only coastal community that does not have a vacation rental ordinance. Now we have, and Oceano is a community that has an inland community and a coastal community. So we're governed by really two agencies, right? Especially the coastal area. So we've looked at other communities' vacation rental ordinances. We have drafted up one of our own, and we're looking, and we have, you know, recommendations in there. And at this point, it's basically, we're looking to ban any new vacation rentals on the inland side, and then manage vacation rentals more stringently on the coastal side. Most of the vacation rentals are on the coastal side. So in that process, I mean, we've borrowed heavily and cut and pasted from other ordinances, but we really need the assistance and guidance of county personnel to help us manage the way we move forward with this. On our side, we still need to gather more information, especially from the, in my opinion, from the coastal community side in terms of, because there's almost 100 vacation rentals over there. So that's something that we have been working with Mr. Choi on. Another topic is curbs, gutters, and sidewalks. Very fundamental to a healthy community, and we have a very few of them. The Safe Schools Act has provided some funding for some sidewalks close to our elementary school. We are thinking big on this, and we're thinking in terms of, I think this will be important for all of the work that the county folks are doing, that when the Biden administration gets its Infrastructure Act together, you know, he has designated 40% of those funds to go to disadvantaged communities. And Oceano is one of two disadvantaged, officially disadvantaged communities, although we don't like that term, in San Luis Obispo County. And so we ought to be in line, possibly, for some pretty big support from the federal government, from the state government with pass-through federal funds, and with state government funding as well. I was reviewing a report on Oceano infrastructure needs from 2003, I think, and they estimated curb, gutters, and sidewalks would cost $8 million. Now, I imagine that price has gone up quite a bit, but I think our goal would be that we have started to dig into this and start to get numbers together so that when these like grants or low interest loans or whatever opportunities come up for disadvantaged communities, that San Luis Obispo County knows that Oceano is ready to go, and we want to be applying, and whatever work we can do, I mean, we'll do our piece, and we need you as partners on that. So those are two examples, and I'll leave it at that. There are others, but I mean, we've got the whole Pier Avenue project that we're looking at, which is very important. So that's.
I like to talk.
I'm done.
Alina, you're mute again.
Go
Yes,
ahead.
yes, I would like to add what Charles just mentioned, the Pier Avenue project. As you know, Pier Avenue has been used for 40 years, I'll be brief, as a corridor, as a vehicular corridor to the beach, because millions of cars access our beach through Pier Avenue. So Pier Avenue has been neglected. It's very ugly, doesn't have even a sidewalk on both sides, doesn't have pedestrian facilities, does not have a bike lane. And the Coastal Commission ordered the state parks to close that entrance to the beach by July 1st next year. So definitely then, since Pier Avenue belongs to the county will be in charge, and it will have to be completely redone to serve pedestrian visitors and pedestrian users. We would like to see Pier Avenue to be a complete street with sidewalks, bike lane, parking, and we would like it to be a cul-de-sac with the plaza for people to meet and socialize. And we want to be part of the planning process, because we, for better or worse, are the Oceano Advisory Council. So that's another big thing that it's on our plate. Thank you.
Okay.
You want to add anything, April? Go ahead.
Yes, I have my hand raised. I would also like to add that there are times where we have questions of the county planner or the department. And so when in our meeting we have these questions, instead of you calling back or getting a hold of one of us, you just come back to the meeting with responses. So that's something that we also look forward to. And then lastly, while we are Oceano specific, we're still within District 4. So updates on things within District 4 that because we're all part of a larger community would be helpful. And if Emmy isn't the planner for that, then maybe information on who the planner is for now that Mr. Choi's gone, like NAPOMO or rural AG, all that's still within District 4. So if we could be kept, not necessarily a lot of verbiage talking during our meeting, but maybe some links to activities, to projects, etc., so that if we do have questions, we know these are coming down the pipeline and we can ask, and then Emmy or whoever could come back with specific information if we requested it.
I want to clarify something. There is the referral for all District 4 projects. They do come to your council for review. You're
Yes.
getting that, right? Okay.
Yes, we
So
do. Aline gets it and she forwards it to us. But instead of like 4 of us asking the same question and Emmy having to respond 4 times, she could just, let us all know at the next meeting, whatever, just as a concept to understand that we would like to not just go, we have this narrow focus. We get notices sometimes where our boundary ends and NAPOMO begins on the Mesa area. So that's kind of good to know, where there's kind of sometimes a crossover, or they're so close together that one affects another. And as our neighbors, we would like to know what's going on.
Okay.
And we learn from that process because we don't go to those meetings and necessarily hear what responses are. So if we just get forwarded that information, then we'll know, and that will be really helpful.
So I think everyone's pretty much covered the important points. And if I recall correctly, last meeting that Troy attended, he was going to get back to us on the exact number of vacation rentals that are on the coastal area and also in the inland area. So that would be something that's important for us to have, and for you to review the draft ordinance and make suggestions, input, and help us with the next steps, because we want to, get this passed hopefully this year. Would be great.
So I wonder, has anyone talked about the process on trying to enact or revise the ordinance that would be, has Mr. Troy actually walked you through the process of how to get an ordinance revised to reflect your community needs?
I think he did that somewhat in terms of, we need to get our ducks in the row, and then it needs to be brought to the, I can't remember if we bring it to our supervisor to bring it to the board, or we just bring it to the board ourselves directly.
So this is actually a very important point I would like to, kind of emphasize to your committee. You should have a really strong, because you are you are appointed by your board of supervisor, which is District 4. And then, so you will have a close relationship with your, the supervisor, and you representing the community voice, you would lobby, I don't want to use the word lobby, but you will actually, present
Advocate.
your needs, advocate, I like that, advocate
We have to
the
do that a
needs.
lot for Oceano.
So you advocate a lot, strongly advocate for the needs of the community. And one of it is, the revisions to the vacation rental ordinance to have specific language that talks to Oceano needs, like the one you're drafting up. So then if she's on board, then she will actually be our boss. She will be, as one of the appointed board of supervisors, she will tell our director that, there's a very strong need in Oceano to update the vacation rental to change, make changes, see to it that it becomes a priority. So because the department gets the direction from the board of supervisors, and every year we prepare what we call a priority list of projects that we work on. And that priority list basically outlines the projects, and then we'll put staff resources to it, timeline to it. And then if this is a new item that one of the supervisors, kind of trying to advocate for, then it becomes a discussion, and the decision have to be made at the supervisor level. We can help you craft the language that is it sounds good, it's defensible, it's supportable, and then but the final direction has to come from the supervisor to our board.
Very
So-
well heard. Thank you very much for that information. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Just hypothetically, Shawnee, what if the advisory board and the supervisor in their district are not on the same page?
That is,
I think she made it clear that she works, the whole department works for the Board of Supervisors.
But we report to the board of supervisors. We don't report to a supervisor.
well, you are appointed by the supervisor.
No,
And
we're
in-
not.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
You're not?
No,
No.
we're not
Well,
appointed by the supervisor.
But okay.
We report to the entire Board of Supervisors. All the advisory councils do, if you read their bylaws.
I might have to read the bylaws. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but I thought
We're
individual
represented
districts.
by District
I-
4, yes.
Yeah, I just thought the district, whoever you report under the district, the supervisor actually have a direct relationship with your council. That's all.
Now, excuse me, I just want to interject one thing, because I did I did read the handbook. The advisory councils were created by the board of supervisors to create a grassroots organization. They would report and to the board of supervisors. Now, in the past, we used to be and then the councils have a discretion on how they are formed. Some of them are being elected, some of them are being appointed, and we are not being appointed by the supervisor. It used to be that way, but as the composition of and the membership of the council changed, we also have changed the bylaws, and now the process of recruiting members, now individual members are not appointed. However, the council as a whole is an institution of the board of supervisors. So we have a legitimacy, but each one of us personally is not, in our case, is not appointed by the supervisor.
So is your council formed by election? Like,
Internally, not an actual election, but
No.
internally we choose the people. Not, our supervisor does not choose us.
Okay,
we choose ourselves.
No, I wouldn't even say, excuse me, Miss April. For example, I forgot your name. For example, the South County, they are
Mhm.
elected by the population at large.
Mhm.
We recruit by application.
Mm,
People do
okay.
apply. In that sense, we choose them.
Mm,
People apply
Mhm.
and make a statement of intent.
mhm.
We bring it to the board and the board votes. So they're
Mhm.
voted by the board.
I see. Wonderful. Okay, this is good, good information.
And what you said was very duly noted, and we appreciate that information. And we will take that very much under advisement and consideration moving forward, especially with the hopefully redistricting situation ahead of us.
Cool.
Aline, you're on mute.
There we go. Next on our agenda, we have Sheriff Commander Wells, and I think he's not, no, Commander Kleinenberg. And I think he's at the
Memorial.
taking part at the memorial.
I'm sure they
So,
both are.
yes. So we got next on our agenda, the review and approval of minutes. I'll give you a couple of seconds to review the minutes if you haven't. More than a couple of seconds, and then have someone motion to approve the minutes.
I
I
so
motion
move
to
that we
approve.
approve the minutes of the April meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those that approve, aye.
Aye.
Business items, sidewalk, gutters, and curbs.
I think that's one of my topics. And I guess gave a little preview of it. This is something that hopefully when we get a needs assessment done in our community, another needs assessment, there has been a few in the past, but around public safety, curbs, gutters, and sidewalks has come up many times from residents that they would like that. I'm not saying that it's universal. Right now, Oceano is the ordinance around curbs, gutters, and sidewalks requires that if you build a new home, you have to put in curbs, gutter, and sidewalk. If you do a remodel of your home that meets a certain criteria for cost or number of square feet, you have to put in curb, gutter, and sidewalk. So it's this checkerboard. And also the cost of curb, gutter, and sidewalk in a low income community where, for me, surprisingly, I think almost about 60% of people are homeowners. And of course, we have a large number of renters. But to do an addition to your house of another, let's say, bedroom and bath for grandma, the curbs, gutters, and sidewalks could cost as much or more than the addition that you're doing. So it becomes a hindrance. So this is why the notion of getting our community lined up and ready to apply for infrastructure development grants around public safety in disadvantaged communities, curbs, gutters, and sidewalks seems to be a very positive and hopeful kind of thing to be getting ready for. And so to this end, I've done a little bit more research. And I'm sorry, it was November 2013 when the complete community survey funding and financing plan was done. And this was done for communities across the county. And the Oceano Capital Improvement Program, by the way, this is a county document. County staff did it. And it talks about utility infrastructure, transportation, public facilities, like public parks, street and highways. Sidewalks are priced out at 8,700,000 and change. And so I would like to propose is we have a subcommittee on paper, but we really don't have somebody who's heading up that subcommittee. We don't have meetings of it. And what I'd like to propose is that we light a fire under this committee, that one of us volunteer to take a lead on it, and that we begin recruiting, inviting local citizens to join this effort, people who are, have an interest in this, and that we begin working together with the county staff, and probably ultimately, with other people on other levels as well, to update the needs here, to develop a concrete plan, to get some costs estimated, and get ready to go for funding if and when that becomes available. And I'd be interested in just hearing other folks' ideas about this, or what you think of moving forward with this. And when ready, I'll make a formal motion.
Well, I'll go first, and I can honestly say that when I speak to individuals, the first thing that, or the second thing that comes up in the conversation is, when is Oceano going to have curbs, gutters, and sidewalks? They really need that. And because there's certain areas in Oceano that are kind of low and flood prone. And so they want the sidewalks because they're going to get the rain, drainage, and the huge puddles gone from their driveways and in front of their homes. I used to live on 18th Street, and it was really bad there when it rained. So it's like a priority that people, they want the sidewalks, but I think they want the gutters, because it comes with the drainage more even than the sidewalks, because it just becomes Puddle City, USA in certain streets in Oceano. So if we can get the funding for it, it would be great. I think there's a lot of interest because that's what the community wants. They want, to have gutters and curbs and sidewalks.
Okay. I think that's, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Aline, that really, when we talk about curbs, gutters, and sidewalks, we're really talking about flood control and drainage. And that is, so those two really go together. I've also heard moms talk about wanting sidewalks for their kids to be able to play on, to walk down the street to another kid's house, ride their bikes on. Sidewalks really help integrate a neighborhood. It's easier for people to walk, visit, okay. So
I don't have my raise hand. For some reason, I don't see a raise hand.
But I see you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I raise my hand like this. Yes, I wonder, yes, the flood control issue is huge. And I wonder if we could skirt the ordinance in some situation where the flooding is really bad because there aren't gutters. I wonder if that would be a specific instance in which the ordinance could be skirted. You know, like it's kind of the ordinance that, I mean, that the homeowner has to build the sidewalk and the gutter, only if it does, if he has some modification to the house. Now, because to me, you know, if there is a huge puddle and there is flood, that's health issue. That's a public health a question. So why does the county have to wait for that property owner to fix the house so that he can put in? That shouldn't be that guy's. When I'm saying to skirt the ordinance means to tackle the problem about the big puddle, not as a responsibility of the owner. If there is a big puddle and if there is a health issue and a safety issue when it floods, then it should be a county problem to build a gutter there. Doesn't have to wait for that property owner to do work on the house so that it can do the gutter. You see what I mean? Maybe to skirt, I mean, to take it from another angle, from a safety issue and a flood control issue. I mean, what would it take? Like if I had a huge puddle in front of my house, I mean, I would raise hell with the county and say, that's your problem. You don't have to wait I don't have to build gutters there. Why?
So that would be a topic for this committee to address and
Yeah.
research.
Yes.
Mhm.
Can I offer a comment or two? So
Yes,
I
Leah, would love that.
understand curb gutter sidewalk is a concern, and it's usually tied, and drainage has always been a identified concern in some low-lying areas in Oceano. I mean, Public Works is really the key player here. I wonder if you have started conversations with them or reach out to Public Works, because I know there are public, like actual capital improvement plans currently. If I just Google, I went to our county website, Public Works website, and I looked at Oceano improvement plans. There are targeted drainage improvements, and then the sidewalk installation around the elementary school is underway. So I think, and from my personal experience, I previously worked on a couple of projects down in Oceano. Public Works is very well aware of the situation there, the hazards, the floods, the safety. So maybe, if they can hear how passionate your council is about these issues, and maybe there's already programs they already have in the pipeline. It's just, connecting the dots, and you're partnering up with Public Works. They have those programs in the pipeline, and just gaining momentum there. So that's something I would recommend is maybe start a conversation and ask Public Works what improvement programs do you have already in the pipeline for Oceano, and is there a possibility to tap onto those programs, and then if there is more, or you can bring in fundings that you can spin off from that program, using that program as a catalyst to apply for grants and funds, and then you can take on like a private endeavor, like private effort. So I think it's worth a conversation. Start a conversation with Public Works.
Shani, do you have the name of a person that you think would be the best one to contact?
So I will look into it. I have a few friends who went over to Public Works, and they're big. They have different sections that focus on different things. So I will look for the right people and provide context for you.
Great.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you.
That's exactly what we need.
Mhm.
So if there's no more comments, I'd like to make a motion that we activate the curb, gutter, and sidewalk committee and announce it to the community and invite people to volunteer to participate on the committee, and begin outreach with county staff, and begin to work together and identify some collective goals that we agree that we want to work towards.
I second that.
Is there a discussion?
Yeah, any discussion on this? Seeing none, it's been moved and second. Put this to a vote. Can you hear me?
April, you're muted.
I muted myself for a second. Sorry. I just wanted to add, maybe we need, each of us individually and collectively need to figure out ways where we can reach out to the community members and try to get some more people who are interested in participating in our group. Because when it's the same 4 or 5 of us and we have 12 things to accomplish, I feel like Charles does everything. Aline does everything. April does everything. You know, Lucia does everything. Sheila does everything. If we need more people, and that really is the root of our need,
Right.
and then from there, we will have the resources and the energy to branch out. But I do absolutely agree with you, Charles. We'll start something, but we all, and I have a name or two that I'd like to talk to come in, but that's really where we need to start. When it's just the same 4 people working their guts out, we burn out.
Yes, Lucia?
Thank you. Well, of course, membership and recruitment, it's huge issue. And, you know, you've heard our supervisor say that we don't represent the community. We are trying everything we can to get people here. However, what Charles say might be a good idea. Rather than trying to recruit people to come to the council, recruit people for individual committees. Like, for example, there might be, as you say, recruit people for the community, go out there and ask them if they want to participate in this particular committee, rather than being burdened with the whole application process and the vote and having the responsibility of being here. So something more flexible, giving the opportunity to residents to work on what they want to work, only on what they want to work. So I think that would be really good. I like that idea of recruiting for particular committees, issues.
Recruitment, yes, please. In any way, yes.
But, you know, I write out letters to my friends and they didn't answer. That's the truth. This is a voluntary, this is voluntary. This is just totally bona fide, bona todo. And, you know, there is nothing to gain from it. And
But
yet,
they also, the community doesn't feel like they're being heard by the people who do make the decisions. So they don't really feel like participating is worthwhile. And we need to work towards fixing that, as Shawnee has mentioned. So I think we have a couple of paths we should pursue.
Well, yeah, it's, you know, as I've heard from folks, that, I mean, actually, I was told this by some Latino members of our community, that they're kind of sick and tired of needs analysis surveys and what do you want in the community, because they've been asked this a whole lot, and what they really want is to see some action. And so, you know, that's and that's why I think that with the opportunity, there may be certainly funding, and especially for our community like ours, that there may be a great opportunity for that.
you know, forgive me if I bring this up again, but it really goes with it, that our supervisor accuses us of not representing the community, as if we sit here and do nothing. We are very open. We are the democratic process. If people want to make changes, this is where they start. Just like we go to meetings and write letters and make public comments and and question, people have to do the same thing in Oceano. Yes, we need to go out and recruit and everything. Also, people need to come to us, need to come to the council. That's where they start. I feel like we are being chastised or punished for really being the only group, for the only people who really care and does some work. I mean, who is doing anything else?
Well, yeah,
We understand, and we have the county employees here who on their time
Yes.
are trying to be diplomatic. So whatever we can do while they're here
Yes.
and use them properly during this meeting, we should do that. And then we'll keep talking about what we as an OAC group needs to handle.
Thank you.
right.
Thank
Let's be positive. I mean,
Yeah,
in the sense of like, we're working on things that we want to, bring to the community for the betterment of everybody.
Yes.
Nobody's here for themselves selfishly.
No,
So we do have a motion on the floor and it's been moved and it's been seconded. I
let's
think we should
create a
take a
committee.
vote.
Create a committee.
So are we doing this by roll call or?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we should. Charles Varney,
Aye.
Lucia Castellanovo,
Yes.
April Dury,
Yes, ma'am.
Sheila Eckhart,
Yes,
and Aline Villa. Yes, unanimous. Yes.
Okay.
I think-
Doctor.
I think that this time we will, we can motivate the community, and that's something that they've been asking for years. And
Yeah.
with this, letting them know that monies is coming from the federal government, I think will excite them. They have been a little discouraged about our county government, but they know that, this president wants to help improve the infrastructure. So I think we can hop on the momentum and make some positive change for Oceano.
We'll send a letter to President Biden and Congressman Carvajal telling them we're getting ready for that money and just let us know how much.
Yes, the sooner the better, right?
Right.
Okay, next on my agenda here, I have planning for Pier Avenue closure. I don't know if we want to discuss anything new on that.
Mhm. There is nothing new.
No. Okay, then we'll continue with the monthly.
Wait a sec, just a second, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I think with Shawnee and Emmy here today, the question I have is that with the Coastal Commission's vote to close Pier Avenue July 22, and we know that there are lawsuits, to seeking to overturn that. But we're of the mind, without getting off into the weeds about the pros and cons of the lawsuit, that we need to, from a planning perspective, act as if this is going to be the reality. And we want to start getting to our community and asking people for their input into what they want to see at the end of Pier Avenue, how they want to see Pier Avenue reimagined.
Mhm.
And we want to be participating with other
Mhm.
stakeholders in that.
Mhm.
The Coastal Commission has been very supportive of Oceano, and in
Mhm.
fact have specifically pointed out and selected out Oceano as the poster child for environmental justice on the California coast. State Parks has, in its public works program, presented a revisioning of the Oceano at the end of Pier Avenue. Now that was re-envisioned with the thought that it was going to be providing access for vehicles, but we're looking at that re-envisioning as a new pedestrian destination and access.
Mhm.
But we still want to work with public parks, with the public, with the state parks on it, of course. And they also have a plan to expand boardwalks through the coastal zone from Grand Avenue to the
Mhm.
Arroyo Grande Creek Lagoon.
Mhm.
Obviously, a public plaza at the end of Pier Avenue would be a logical place to have boardwalks connect to, and boardwalks that lead into the dunes, down to the beach, along the beach, all of that. So that's kind of the big picture. And we have gone on record that saying that we want to represent the community of Oceano in those kinds of discussions and consider ourselves a stakeholder, as does the Coastal Commission consider us a stakeholder. And we'd like the county to consider us as a stakeholder and a resource. And when we do start hopefully getting this needs assessment together, I would like to get input from our county representatives in terms of, are there, particular questions or things that we may have missed in this needs assessment in the methodology. But so that's, it's a big issue, but it's one that is very significant to the future of Oceano and the character and the identity of our community.
Absolutely. Can I ask a little clarification point on what's this needs assessments that you keep referring to? Is it done or is it underway?
It's in, well, we have requested in our budget $2,700 to do a online needs assessment as a start, and then to be able to follow up with more qualitative assessments as we kind of build the person-to-person links on survey responses. I can't share a lot about this other option, but Cal Poly, city and regional planning, environmental engineering, business administration, a number of academic departments have taken interest in Oceano and have done a number of planning documents and economic development documents for the city, for the community of Oceano. So there's a lot to already go on. I mean, just the review of the literature, it would be very informative to this process. But the Oceano Economic Development Council, which is a public 501c3, relatively new organization, but it's been working with Cal Poly for over 3 years on this, is discussing with Cal Poly right now a university-supported social scientific based needs assessment using both quantitative and qualitative approaches that would take place over the next year.
This is good. You got like the partners are lined up for you to carry out all this heavy duty assessment stuff. And so ultimately, I know there's a lot going and there's a lot of like interview and interaction and input that the community has to give. And ultimately, we'll come up with a plan and a program, which then feeds into the, implementation stage. So I think because when you have those kind of like community informed document and plans, then when you go and implement it in terms of like, when we talk about implement means it's like, okay, it's time to get the permits or move, make amendments to the existing regulations so that the vision can be implemented in, and then it could be rolled out in different phases. Then it could be this information that would inform the change. So you need to do this. It's almost like these are all kind of groundwork. You're doing good, having all these partners all lined up to do all the groundwork for you. Yeah. I was just thinking about this could be a fantastic collaboration with Cal Poly City and Regional Planning. I think you're already on it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure, students that would love to take this on as a studio project and envision and figure out the economics of it and the design of it. Yeah, it's really much up their alley.
Yeah, they have done a lot. I mean, they just completed a big one on a town center plan on the current airport property. And we're just in the middle and getting close to launching our new website, where we've compiled and put together most all of these previous planning documents, going back to I think it was the 2013 Oceano revitalization.
Yeah.
So those
I remember that.
be available there for both, I mean, for anybody to use as a resource.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that one.
So I think that's about it from me on Pure Avenue. Aline.
Okay, so any more discussion on Pure Avenue? Being none, we'll move on. And next on our agenda, we have the monthly OAC report to the Board of Supervisors. I did mine this month, the beginning of the month, and I thought it went fairly well. It's great that publicly we're not just informing the supervisors, but everyone that's listening, and so the community understands that we are doing something for the community, that that we are representing them to the best of our abilities. And we're doing so in a very open and transparent way by informing them what we're doing and the projects that we're working on, and inviting them to the meeting, and they can have their input.
Yes, thank you for that. That's very much needed. And we don't work in a vacuum. We're not hidden. We're available. We're open for membership, for input, for criticism, concern, comments, all of it. And that you take the time, Aline, to send emails repetitively and speak to the Board of Supervisors and create reports to submit to them is very, very thankful work. I'm so appreciative that you do that. And
Thank
I
you.
will help more as now that tax season's over to be more vocal and more in front and help alleviate some of that work that you do to get us heard at the board level.
And so, yes, and we need another monthly report. So does anyone want to volunteer for this month coming up?
I'm happy to do it.
Okay.
Good, great. I second it.
Wait, discussion. No, I'm kidding.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
We take turns.
And
Yeah.
also with this next month's report, I know will be very important, especially around the budget issues that we have,
Which is why it'd be really good for me to be that person.
it
this
would be
time.
very good for you to be there. But I'm also thinking that we may have more than 3 minutes of material to present. And so
We could share.
if I'm available, I would be happy to take another 3 minutes for additional material. And so let's kind of,
Yep.
yeah, thank you for being the lead on it for this next month, April, and then
And
let
as
us
we
know what.
do, we all
let us know
chime
what
in
help you
before
need.
we ever do it anyway. So
Now, wait a
everyone
minute,
will
but
have input on what will be said, how it will be said, etc. And we can also submit documents, information ahead of time to be attached to it as well.
Yeah,
the budget is not on the agenda, so it's kind of premature right now to talk about. I mean, we don't even know if it's going to be in the report. If we have to motion and talk about it tonight, or have a special meeting about it, and then we will discuss, and then we can report on it. So But as for now, there is no discussion on the budget. So I'm kind of waiting for that to come up. But thank you very much, April.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so thank you, April. We have the economic impact studies. Charles, do you want to talk about that today? We,
You know, that has been an agenda topic focusing mainly on the economic impact of off-highway vehicles on the economy. And then the other side of it, what would be the economic impact of a vehicle-free beach with no off-highway vehicles or vehicles south of Oceano. And the South County Chamber of Commerce and Visit Slow are in the process of putting out to bid a contract to do a new economic impact analysis for the count for those organizations. They're the clients on the impacts of a vehicle-free beach and what kind of shifts and in kinds of marketing and demographics might that involve, and how does the South County in particular position itself for that?
so is it the South County Chamber of Commerce and then
Yes, the South County Chamber of Commerce, and
Are
then
they going to pay for this? Who's going to?
they're partners in it. Other Grover Beach is a partner in it. Pismo Beach is a partner in it. I think Arroyo Grande is going to be a partner in it. I think they're looking at around a $40,000 budget that they have for this study.
That's great.
It's good. It's good timing. I have asked for an invitation for the council to be part of that. So far, the invitation has not been extended, but the Oceano Economic Development Council is going to be part of that process. And so if they're going to be part of it, then I think that we can be perhaps have some input through them, invite them to a meeting to present to us on it in terms of what's going on.
That's great news.
That's the update.
Yes, that's great news that they're going to do that and have an independent study, because I'm pretty sure it's going to work in our favor.
Mhm.
You know, it's going to show that Oceano has a lot of potential. Without, we don't necessarily need off-roading to make us a popular destination and a tourist destination. Our beautiful beach and dunes speak for themselves. They're just so beautiful.
It's
Well,
a
and we all
study done by the tourism industry, so
Yeah,
think of where that study is going.
and we all had the wonderful experience of being able to go to the beach without vehicles on it for a number of months this last winter. I mean, unfortunately, because it was one silver lining in the cloud of COVID. I think you've probably all heard my kind of like hypothetical example that if you survey 5,000 people about, if they are going to go on a beach vacation, do they want to go to a beach that has motor vehicles driving up and down on it, or do they want to go to a beach without motor vehicles? And in general, the great majority would want to go to a beach without vehicles. We know that. When Pismo took the vehicles off their beach, that's when they became a pedestrian tourist destination.
And
So,
as you also know, Charles, that when you target your survey audience, you get the results you're looking for.
that is exactly right. And we know that's what's happened with state park surveys in the past. But this is going to be a much more social scientific survey, more objective, hopefully.
With you, the Oceano Economic Council on there, we hope that you will do good oversight, and we're confident that this
Mhm.
will be more
Yeah, definitely.
objective scientific
Objective is a great word.
study.
Yeah.
Forward.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to get invalid data.
No, it doesn't.
You know, I mean, it's a
People
very-
see through it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Sense. It makes sense for those who want invalid data. I mean,
Exactly. Yes. Unless you have an agenda you're pushing.
right.
Okay,
Exactly.
next one, let's go for, try to
Yes.
next on the agenda. We have the vacation rental ordinance, which I think we've spoken about already.
Yes.
I think that the next, certainly this is a perfect time, I don't mean in this moment, but with, have reestablish our connection with county staff to have, more guidance from them as we move forward. The big job now is the same job we've been talking about, like with curb gutters and sidewalks, and that's getting the citizenry involved in this before the fact, in terms of some of these important issues that are not resolved in the ordinance at this point, specifically constraints on the coastal side of the picture. I mean, common things that have been done in Morro Bay, in Cambria, is they just put a cap on the number of vacation rentals. And that's it. It's like, okay, there won't be more than 100 vacation rentals, just picking a number out. I think we're over 100 at this point on the coastal side. And that's, and then, so then now everybody knows what the limit is, and those vacation rentals can be, wheeled and dealed, sold, bought, rented, whatever. But so we need input from the community on that. And
So try to do a better job of doing outreach, going on social media and out. Yeah,
right, and I
letting
think
them know that we're working on this.
what I would suggest is that we have a special meeting with
Just
that,
for that.
the only topic, and we do a good job. We publicize it as much as we can. And Aline, as a director on the Community Services District, I think we should discuss making a request to OCSD to include a flyer in the utility bill that goes out every 2 months, announcing some of our public events. And then we need to do a more complete job advertising it in every venue that we can that's free, since we have very little money to do any paid advertising. So
Do you want to set like a date for the special meeting, like 2 months from now, 3 months from now?
I would, I'm trying to get my shoulder surgery lined up, and that's going to kind of dictate for me when I'm available.
Okay, so for this next upcoming month, we'll just do more, better outreach. I didn't do enough. I didn't do the outreach I should have done.
Well, I think that, I
Did
mean,
some, but not on social media.
it seems like, I mean, I'm not seeing that there's any disagreement with the idea of having a special meeting to do outreach and gather information from folks. And so, I mean, I think we can work on that plan and where we would contact and what kind of information we're going to send out for people. We do have the ordinance on the website. Of course, it's there for everybody, but I'd like to at least move forward with that, getting some concrete planning going.
Okay, Lucia?
I think we talked about this last time, and we agreed that before we do any outreach, we need to have a final draft of the ordinance that we want to ask.
No,
Or, you know,
I don't think so.
things Well, things go together. We need to ask the people what they want to put it in the draft, and then we need to have a draft to bring back to the people to say, is this okay? Más o menos.
Right.
You know, the things go together. I'm not saying what comes first. Maybe I expressed my wrong. What I'm saying is, I think mostly is that I was thinking about the special meeting. Shouldn't we have our county rep here, as we say, look at the ordinance and give us some advice before we make it public and have a meeting on it? I thought they were gonna. I thought she was gonna look it over and make sure things, you know, maybe say this is supportable, this is not. I suggest this, or I suggest this. Not advice on, but what her expertise and some, and then at least when we have that done, we can think about a special meeting with the community. Yeah, that's all I was saying. Not to have it all done before we. No, we need to hear what. But at least we already have a draft, and that I think should be looked over by Amy or Shay. I didn't understand who is our rep, one or the other.
Emi Sugiyama is your rep.
And who are you?
I'm Shani, yes, and I'm her supervisor, and I'm just
her supervisor. Okay,
yes,
so
yes.
Amy. So we thought, right, that Amy looks it over first. At least we have a sound draft, and then we can have the community meeting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I was able to take a quick look. I don't think that just based on what I have on here, I did it all on paper. Me going over it would be very productive. So I'd rather send out an email with edits listed on a Word document, if that works for you all.
Yeah.
So you know kind of what our thoughts are.
That'd be
Okay.
great.
Absolutely, right. And if we can maybe now work out a timeline and say, and then we can start, that's all I think. I'm done, thank you.
I had a quick question. Did Young leave a list or provide information to Emmy or anyone in the department of what he was working on and passed along to the next person? Did that happen?
Emmy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. Is that right, Emmy?
Not with specific regard to this group, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now we know where we stand, so we need to make sure that area is as up to date as we left it with Young. And we don't think that we're waiting on stuff that Emmy has no idea what we're waiting on.
Aline, what has been the response of Supervisor Compton to the many copies of the draft ordinance that you've sent to her and invitations to participate with us?
She has not responded. I haven't specifically asked her what she thinks of it, but you know, I gave my report. She didn't, when I gave the report at the beginning of the month, no response like this last time.
Okay.
So
For clarification, when you give that report, you do it at the items not on the agenda portion of the Board of Supervisors meeting, correct?
yes.
So, and it's very common for a supervisor to not give feedback,
Mhm.
and especially when they don't want to, then that's a great opportunity to just not say anything. So it's not surprising to not have heard it that way. So I wouldn't read more into that. It's not really the place to do it.
Yeah.
But I think the point is being made that we just kind of fell through the cracks at the county level, and we need to accept that. And that whatever we thought Young was working on, that we just either need to bring Emmy up to speed or we need to revise what that was so that we can move forward productively.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was thinking more of the when the agenda goes out with the attachments and then the minutes of the meeting. I know that the supervisor gets all of those, and I think you invite her to come to attend the meetings. Would you send her a special invitation?
Yeah, she
Okay.
She gets that. She has chosen, I guess, not to attend.
Okay,
So when can, so Amy, when, give us an idea of when you will be able to look over the ordinance to make some suggestions.
Yeah, so I looked over it today, and Shani actually then went over it as well. So we have some notes. So it'll just be about us putting our written notes onto computer notes. That's it. So it'll likely be within the next 24 hours, probably.
Hi,
Yeah.
that's great. Okay, so then we
oh,
can,
that's great.
that's wonderful. Then we can, then we can pass it around among us so that we can read it and be ready maybe to discuss it next time. And
Mhm.
and then start, yeah, setting a date for the community meeting. Yeah, that's a good
I
plan. That's a
I
good
want
plan.
I want to ask a little bit on the background, how this ordinance, this language came about. I know I heard earlier, some of you said it was a heavy cut and paste from other jurisdiction. Is there a particular one that you keep referring, that you're referring to a lot? Like, is it Morro Bay or is it Los Osos? Could you give me a little sense of your flavor, what kind of restrictions and limitations you look to, you would like to see in your community?
So as I recall, the Los Osos was important.
Mhm.
Cambria was. We looked at what Morro Bay had done. And as the documents put together, and I think this organizationally, it could be better, but there's a section that lays out some different options
Mhm.
for public discussion, or at least to get public discussion started about what specific, if any, additional, requirements or limitations or controls do we want to do in Oceano.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of the that's the piece of outreach which I think is really important that we do.
Lucia?
Yes, and I was gonna say, we became concerned. I think I'm answering, and I forgot how exactly you asked. But yeah, Oceania is changing, and it is growing, and we are concerned to lose our character and neighborhood like quality and lifestyle. We will become another, vital beach, the last beach town of the county, truly.
Mhm.
With the changes that are coming, we already have seen now some that they are already happening, and there will be more and more demand for vacation rentals, for and tourist accommodation, and we don't want our houses to be taken over for vacation rentals. We want to protect our houses, our residents who live here. We don't want to give incentives. We don't want encourage people to buy old houses, remake them, and turn them into vacation rentals. So we want to control it. We want to manage it. We don't want it to be just wild and just the more the better. No, we need to have some standards, some limitations. That's how it came about.
Okay, gotcha.
As I was researching, it was, and I don't know, Shani, how much you've gotten out into the weeds on this, but what you see is that it's like kind of like 5 or 6 basic issues that come up in every community. It might be that issue 1 and 4 are 1 and 2 for a community, or it's a little different, but basically it's, protecting affordable housing, protecting neighborhood character, and a quality of life where people have bought into a single family residence and all of a sudden they're living with hotels basically across the street. And and then there's then all of the issues of enforcement, et cetera.
Yeah.
So it's, we haven't, I don't think, come up with anything particularly new,
Mhm.
but we just don't have anything on the books at this point.
So just a small, like, feedback. So right now, because there's nothing in the books, any vacation rental request will have to go through a land use permit. So you have to go through a public hearing. It's a discretionary permit. It goes through a public hearing. The community have a chance to get noticed when the public hearing will occur. You have a chance to write in and have your comments heard. So every vacation rental has to go through that to get established. And then a couple of times, I mean, not this community, but other communities, when there's too many of them coming along, there is, when there's a lot of feedback coming from the community at the hearing saying that we don't want it anymore, it's saturated. There has been times where the hearing officer will deny it because they're listening to the community saying it's too saturated.
Good.
And then the other angle I see that if you were to put in standards, right, like Los Osos and Cambria, we call them the distance limitations, the 100 feet, anywhere within 100 feet of your block. If you have one, you cannot have it. That is actually set up to allow for a more streamlined approach to get a vacation rental. Like if you qualify for the distance, like no neighbors within 100 feet, I'm just throwing out as an example. Like if there's no neighbors within 100 feet of your house is a vacation rental, you as a person requesting, you can go and get a business license and operate as a vacation rental with no discretion, with no public hearing. So that's the trade-off. If you were to put some standards in there, that you're going to try to think about it in a way that, okay, if I put standards in here, I'm going to say if you meet these standards, then it's
There's no question asked.
there's no question. Yes, it's a ministry action. But then you have to think about, like, are you going to give them an exception, a possibility? If anyone is like in a really unique situation and they want to ask for exception, is there an avenue for them to pursue? So is it through a discretionary process? So that's how other coastal communities have been operating right now. Los Osos is slightly different because they're resource compromised, so they need larger parcels. It also depends whether you're on septic or you're on on well, or you're being served by the service district. So there's other things to come in play. So I just want to let you know right now, vacation rental in Oceano is straight up all discretionary public hearing process.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I don't think I knew of the importance of how they are different and how that manifests.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, we'll put together some comments, general feedback on the ordinance, the draft ordinance language that you put out, which is good. And yeah, we can definitely continue this conversation and have it tuned up so that you know the pro and cons, or two sides of the direction that you take on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have the ODSVRA Coastal Commission.
Quick question.
Yes.
Do the county employees, do we need them for anything else if they don't wish to stay?
You're right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right, I didn't have the agenda here, so I don't know what other items coming up. So, but if you don't think that we're needed in your subsequent discussion, we will take leave for tonight. Thank
I
you.
don't think you want to hear the treasurer's report.
Did we give you permission to go and have dinner?
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you
It's
so
very
much
nice
for
to meet
staying.
you all.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
guys
much.
very
Thank you.
much
Nice to
for
meet you.
taking the time.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Bye.
But we're
Okay.
moving on whether you stay or not.
ODSVRA Coastal Commission, I don't think that we have much there, right?
No,
Well,
no.
maybe I can do a little, this is, also we have the Oceana Beach Community Association report. Should I
Yeah,
just?
but that's later on. That's
There is the fourth lawsuit, I think.
I know, so what I'm saying is that,
about.
do you want me to talk about it now or later?
Later, I think we need to talk about the go
Okay.
on to the
I think we need to talk about the budget right
budget.
now.
I think we should
Yes.
do that now
Okay, yeah.
Right now. Yes.
because we don't want this meeting to drag on.
No.
Okay,
No.
go
Right
ahead.
now.
Who wants to start this discussion?
Well, well, you know what? There is so much to say. I'm afraid it's going to take a long time.
Yes.
First of all, I am the one who spoke at the county and made a public comment, and I heard what she said, and she's right. They do not have the obligation to fund us. I haven't looked everywhere. I also asked to the South County. I know a member of the South County Council, and she agrees with me. They do not have the obligation to fund us. It's totally at their discretion. So, however, I'm really concerned. Okay, forget about that. Okay, talking to this person from the South County, or maybe we should wait for April 1st. We'd like to see the data and see what's the history like. When was the last time that we were funded? How much money did we get?
I can tell you that. Give me 1 second to pull up that tab.
Oh, so you have the data?
I'm still working on it. I've been working on it all afternoon. Again, just for backstory, tax season ended Monday night. It's only Thursday afternoon, and I'm doing the best I can. So I've gotten doctor's office, car appointment, everything in the last 4 months I couldn't do, I'm trying to get done this week. So,
Because
and that includes this budget.
We can make a case, and I think, saying, you know, for example, all the other requests have been accepted. Why
So
is it?
let me tell you what I've gotten so far, because it's very good information.
Yes, please.
So NAPOMO, which is SCAC that you just mentioned, the records reflect that they have requested in the last 4 fiscal years, the last 5 fiscal years, they've requested funding 4 times, and they've been approved all 4 times.
Yes.
Their total amount of approval is $3,600 over those years. You
Right.
will get an actual report from me. This
Yes.
is just me looking at what I've compiled and telling you numbers at this moment, but you will get an actual report where you see this
That's
yourself.
wonderful.
So the most that they ask for is $1,000, and they get it. And then the last time they asked was only for 628 because they had money left over the other times.
Yes.
And that's all they needed to fill out the rest of their budget for the current year. So without question, they get their money every time. The last time we asked for money was so over the same 5 years, not counting whatever Charles has just done, we asked for $1,200 back in the year 16, 17, according to records. I haven't seen that. I've just seen notes that refer to it, and that was $1,200, and we were given $1,200. And then the last time we were actually given money was in the fiscal year 1920. Jennifer Blackburn, if you remember her, she put in a request for $3,000. So we went from 2016 to 2019 with no extra money. And then she put in a request for 3,000, and we were given 500. And that's all we've had since then is $500.
Since when? Repeat it. Since
December of 2019.
2019.
And of that, it doesn't tell me what we asked for. So I'm going back to find those. As I create this information, I'm creating a list of gaps in information. So I can go back to the county and say, okay, well, on this date, we got $1,200. What did the budget look like so we know why we got $1,200? And I'm also looking at what are other agencies asking to be funded for that we don't even think to ask for. So like now we're finally asking for a website. Other agencies have been funding their website for 3, 4, 5 years. Other agencies have been getting money for election committee groups to hold not campaigning per se, but campaign, whatever the thing that we did before. What was that, Charles, we tried to do?
A
The
forum.
candidate forum.
Forum. Now, when you mean agency, excuse me, you mean other agencies? You mean other councils?
Yes, I'm sorry. So I say agencies, but yes, I do mean advisory
Councils.
councils. So I can tell you that there are, through the county website, there are 7 linked advisory councils.
Yes.
But there are 2 that I know exist because the county gave them money that aren't even listed on the county website. So it now appears there are 11 county advisory agencies that I'm trying to follow up on.
I didn't
So-
understand this. 7 are listed?
On the county as being recognized.
Yes.
But the county, when I did a public records request, they have 2 more agencies that aren't even on the county's website that have been funded. So Cayucas has been funded, that's
And it-
not listed on the county website. And no, I take that back. I'm sorry. San Miguel has been funded, but they're not listed on the county website. And there's another one as well that is, sorry, I have to minimize my screens that I'm looking at so that I can keep the screen with the meeting in it visible.
Okay.
Sorry. In Shandon received money. It's an advisory council, but it's not listed on the county website as an advisory council. So I want to understand, Templeton is listed as an advisory council, but I have no record of them ever asking for money ever. So like as an example, Creston has asked for and received over $5,000 in the last 5 years. Another one is Avila. So Avila is special because of the issue that happened with Avila with the oil spillage leakage that happened. They were given and I've researched this years and years ago, so I already know some of this backstory. They were given so much money by, one second, Lucia, and I will answer. They were given so much money by the oil companies for the damage that they did.
Yes.
Part of that money that they were given, or part of the requirement, was that they had to create a funding source, an agency, a nonprofit in essence. And so they get some of their money from that instead of the county. So that's part of it. Other agencies or other advisory councils have gotten a one-time large sum of money because they've put on an actual event, which is something that we do here in Oceano, but we do it under other groups like the OBCA. And so the OBCA would get its own money. And in some areas, the advisory council got the money to put that event on, whether it be a street cleaning, a neighborhood cleaning, whatever. So, but the main thing that I can tell you is that Oceano has a very small record of asking for money and an even smaller record of what we received by what we've asked for. And of the entire District 4 area, it's predominantly Napomo specific and Oceano specific, even though District 4 is also out Carpenter Canyon, out Corbett Canyon, out Old Oak Park to the right-hand side of Old Oak Park. All that area is also District 4. They just don't have advisory councils to get money out there. So District 4 is represented on an advisory level by only Oceano, and then what's called the South County Advisory Council, which is heavily Napomo, and then a little bit of the rural AG Mesa part, not the rest of it. So you had a question, Lucia?
Yes. So you said that, okay, in the last 5 years, we worked on $1,200. But then you said also that we asked for 500 in 2019.
We asked for 3,000.
Oh, yeah, but we got
We
500.
only got 500.
So
So,
in-
so far in 5 years, we've gotten $1,700.
Okay,
As
But I
opposed
don't
to,
have detail on the $1,200 from 5 years ago. I have to request that detail. I never got any detail.
while Nipomo's been working on $3,600 for the last 5 years.
yes.
Yes. So 5 years ago, they got 1,000. 4 years ago, they got 1,000. 3 years ago, I
Yeah,
don't
but
see anything.
That's plenty information. You know, I think we can make a very good case right there.
And this is why I wanted all this information
Good for
before.
you. I applaud you. Yes,
working-
I
Called
applaud you.
forensic accounting. I love it.
Yeah.
But this is why we need this, because then
We need this.
whatever answer we're given, we know the truth and we can present the truth and not let 4 other Board of Supervisors hear a falsehood or the community hear a falsehood. We speak with facts and information.
Now,
Um,
this council,
Can I interrupt here?
Sure.
You're
Yeah.
going on 7-8. Do you, can we have a voice vote for 15 more minutes? And then, because this can go on.
I can tell you that
Good
there is not much more that I need to add to this. to
Okay,
tell you
can we
I-
have a voice,
like 10 more minutes.
15 more minutes? Aye,
Aye.
Right.
okay.
right,
So what I have learned is that there are areas that we should be asking for funding for that other area councils are asking and receiving funding for. And it is not, and every one that I read, you have to turn in this form that Charles turned in for us called a grant application or something. And every one of those, no matter which agency turns it in, says the exact same thing we say, that we represent our specific boundary and that we report to the Board of Supervisors as a whole. It doesn't say just our supervisor. None of the district area councils that turned these in say, I only report to Bruce or District 3 or 2, or none of them say that. So that we're being held accountable doesn't seem very fair. And that's something that, again, we can go in with knowledge and knowledge of foresight, ahead of time to present. And with all that, if we have a special meeting or we continue through email communication that we make public, I don't care. But this will all be presented to everybody so that we all are on the same page and it's not just me telling you what I'm seeing, that you all can see it.
yeah, I motion that we have a special meeting on this. There is so much that, first of all, we need to read, I would love to read, and I have under my eyes April's information. And then we need, in my opinion, to revise the budget. I think we asked way too much. I really thought it was too much. I acquiesced, it was fine, and we have been wonderful to get it.
But I will say, hearing Charles say that the big ticket item that was on the budget was the ability to do a survey, which
Right.
is pretty much a one-time thing, at least for now. That's not out of the question. So I don't think that the amount that we're asking for is too much because that's what we're asking for.
No,
And we've
no,
gone so long with
Right.
it.
no.
And if Cal Poly comes through, then that won't be part of the budget request anymore.
And bear in mind, we asked for $3,000 2 years ago and we only got 500.
Right.
Yeah, yes,
So
and I
we
believe,
can ask for $1 and be told no.
So what about having another short meeting, maybe just a 1 hour, 45 minutes?
What I would suggest is if you give me another, this time next week, that
Yes,
if we are all willing or whoever is interested, we gather someplace where we each bring our laptop and we distance, that we all could look at these spreadsheets together and the documents that I was given, we can all look at them together on our computers. It will be available and we can talk about them that way with it all in front of us together, because then you'll see the requests that I put in, and you'll see the documents that I had, and you can see that the way that they're turned in addition to what I'm compiling, I think seeing that will help everyone understand what the process really is.
Yes, and I'm concerned more on the fact that I didn't see anywhere in the handbook, in the resolutions, anywhere whatsoever that there's an obligation to be funded. I have to partially disagree with Lucia on that the budget is too much. This year is this whole year and the upcoming year are special for Oceano because of the closing of Pier Avenue, Lucia, and these studies are
Yes,
expensive. They're expensive, and like Cheryl said, I agree with him that if the
I
Cal
don't
Poly
mind.
comes through, you know, and what did she
No.
say? She did not say that our budget was too large.
No.
She made it sound like she does not agree with, she implied that our
agree with our
council is a special
council.
interest council and not representing all of the community. So we need to counter that.
We need to
And-
respond to that. That's why I want to have a
Respond to that.
special meeting on that, because that is bad. That undermines our authority. And we need to counteract that each single point. We have been following the democratic process. We do represent Oceano
But
at this
at the
point.
moment, we're talking about the budget.
Yes.
So
Well,
let's focus on the budget, and the budget is, in no circumstance has anyone ever asked for money. No council has ever asked for money that was denied. I
Yeah.
specifically asked that of the person fulfilling my public records request. Please provide any documentation or information for denial. And she said, there are none.
Ms. Compton said that she believes that the things are connected, the budget and the rest are connected. She said expressively that she doesn't see why she should fund an interest group. So,
And then in the interim, we would counteract by saying there is no history where an advisory council has been denied. They may have been denied
Right.
the amount asked for, but they're in 5 years of history. There
Yes.
has never been among 11 advisory councils and
Bravo.
5 supervisors, one denial until now. And that really goes to her motivation and not ours.
bravo. And number two, we have to also get into we are not an interest group. I
Well,
stand.
I keep trying to say that when all we keep pushing is OHV issues.
But
So I think we need someone to hire a higher power, like they say, someone with
we need
more
to have a
power.
meeting. We need to have
I
another
think
meeting.
Charles mentioned this before, that to help us, to support us, maybe some other supervisors or someone even above
But
the
until we
supervisors.
have this information compiled, how are they going to? I need to get this information together. We need to see it as a group and understand what it's telling us. And then talk to Bruce Gibson, talk to Leg, whatever, Ortiz Leg,
agree.
that the ones who are our border people, because they're as impacted by Oceano as we are by them.
Yes. So let's
Right.
have a meeting next week.
Charles?
I'm, well, kind of related is that I'm sure you've all heard that it's kind of a rumor, but I don't think I mean, it's pretty, it's pretty much for sure that Lynn Compton is looking to get rid of Oceano when they gerrymander the supervisors districts. And Don Ortiz Leg will be our supervisor. Now, I mean, I do not want that to happen. I want Jimmy Paulding as my supervisor. But that's something down the line that, you know, will just to keep that in mind. I think right now, I'd be happy to have another meeting on this. And I agree that I think we better do that once we have April's data. And I guess this will come up in the treasurer's report. I'm more concerned about our capacity to pay our bills right now. with regards to the website. And
Right.
the website host, Squarespace.
Yeah.
Do
we-
we want to combine the budget talk with this right now then, and then be done with it?
I
Or
would
not, I'm
appreciate
sorry,
that since we're kind of on.
the report, the treasurer's report.
Yes, I think we should.
Okay, so I don't have a report because I have had no time to get into the binder. Charles did contact me and said that he received some stuff from the bank. I have received nothing and I need to go talk to them. Tomorrow is my first unscheduled day, which already has 5 things on it. So that will be one of the 6 things that I need to do tomorrow. I never got a bank statement. I haven't gotten an email with any information on access online. I did not get a debit card. I walked out that door of the bank and never heard from them again. But now that Charles has mentioned it, I realize that and I need to go follow up. So I will do that. I don't know what our current bank balance is. Charles would probably be better at that.
Well, that's in the post office box.
Okay, and I have been to the post office box where thankful, I don't know why, but thank you, Sheila, sent us a check. So we have a check from Sheila Eckert in there. And I'm holding on to it because I'm not quite sure what it's for, and we'll talk about that.
Nice, Sheila, thank you.
It's
Yes,
just a
thank you.
donation.
Oh,
I
then
just-
When you need it.
So I can say that I have some money. If we needed to cut a check to somebody, I can write a check if I had to. For our immediate, we're okay. If I had to write a check for $2,000, I'm not okay. If I had to write a check for $250, I'm good to go. I can help cover whatever.
So our outstandings right now are $500 to James for website. And then I'm not sure what the hosting for Squarespace is. I think it's about 150
Okay.
for a year and a half or a year, what was it?
Years,
for a year.
For a
2
year.
years. I think it's paid by 2 years. Or only one?
And I think we have about $700.
So again, I can put in a loan or something until we figure out what's going on. But I highly suggest as your financial advisor that we don't take on more debt in the next
No,
month
Mhm.
until we get some answers.
absolutely. And we need to redo a
We
budget.
need to start
and-
washing cars and
Okay, so let's
Bake
meet
sales.
let's meet next week. So it's
I
gonna be,
cannot do Thursday or Friday next week.
so you don't want it to be Zoom, you want it to be physical?
I can't do either. I'm getting my niece that I only get once a year. And I am getting her, I'm driving all the way to the valley to get her
Yeah,
on
okay.
Thursday. And
know.
I have her only certain amount of days and that's it. And I am
Okay.
not
So
letting go of
what
that.
day? What day can you have the meeting?
Monday's a nightmare. It's already backed up. Again, it's literally, I'm still soaking wet from tax season. It's like, I don't know.
Well,
Tuesday, Wednesday,
Why don't you send us a notice when you're available? How's that?
I'm trying to work
Yeah.
it out with you right now. There is no available. You just have to tell me, we have to hammer it out and I will put it on my calendar.
How
So
about June 10th, Thursday?
June 10th?
Correct.
that's too far. No,
Okay, next week, April's not available. That's the first.
No,
week.
no, I'm not available Thursday or Friday.
please, well,
Okay.
let's do Wednesday, the 26th.
Okay, I have that open.
Yeah. Do you have a meeting, Alina, with the OCSD?
Yes,
But you just had one
in the
yesterday?
evening.
Huh?
That's in the evening. I could do it in the early evening or morning, or I don't know.
There's the back patio of Efren's. We could sit there for an hour, which is fine by me. We could sit at Triangle Park for an hour. I have a phone that has a hotspot Wi-Fi connection.
Look, a public place is really bad for me with my hearing aids. I can't
Gotcha.
hear anything.
Well, I can tell you the backside of Efren's is not public. It's very private.
Okay, but I went there for lunch the other day and they have the recycle plant going on and it's very noisy.
Oh, the plant, you're right.
And
What
I-
about the library that's in Oceano at the school.
Is it open?
I don't know. I don't have kids. I don't know.
Why don't
We
we just,
usually-
why don't we have a Zoom meeting and you can share your screen?
I don't know how to do any of that, and I am not gonna take the time to learn in 4 days while I'm.
If you send it to me, then I can share the screen.
Okay.
Okay,
And
That
then
will work.
we don't have to worry about organizing the public space.
Yes.
now bear in mind, there's gonna be multiple things. There are 3 different PDFs from the county so far. And then there's my spreadsheet. And in the meantime, I will be doing another public records request for the missing information. And I don't know if I'll have it by Wednesday, but if I do, it will be that many more PDFs.
That's fine. Actually, I would like to see all the PDFs so I can look at them and be prepared before the meeting.
Yeah, you could send it to us before the meeting, right?
Send
Sure.
it in the morning, the night before, send them to everybody. And then Charles will do the screen sharing.
So can we meet at 4 o'clock on the 26th?
Is that too early, too late for you, Aline?
No, that's fine.
Because
Yeah.
the Diablo Canyon meeting starts at 6.
And yeah, that's fine. If, I mean, an hour and a half, that will still give me time to be.
Great.
And the more that you have ahead of time and can look at, the less I need to talk. You just
Yes,
can ask
Right.
questions.
yes. We could ask questions.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why I like to have it first so that I can ask questions. Great. Thank you, April. Wonderful,
Sure.
wonderful, wonderful,
And
April.
in the meantime, I will follow up with the bank. I don't know why I didn't get anything.
Mhm. Well,
Okay, 15 minutes is up. Do we want to get some?
yeah, the 15 minutes. I think, do we have anything that's urgent
No.
to talk about?
No.
So should we motion to adjourn?
I was going, yes, low cog is the only other thing, but if we don't have time, we don't have time.
I mean, if 5 minutes,
We
you want
only
to,
meet- all we're doing is talking about we're starting the process of creating a report and needing community input for not traffic, what's the word? Like getting around town.
Transportation.
Thank you, transportation. So sidewalks and roads and stuff like that are very important.
Right.
If Pier Avenue closes, transportation down to there, we talked about a shuttle, et cetera. So as that continues the process, I am not representing the OAC. That's not what I'm on there for. But as a community member, the OAC can have a voice through me
Sure.
to bring, just like the OBCA has a voice through Lucia or Aline, or whoever is representing that, same concept. But right now we're not doing anything besides gathering information and learning about information they've gathered so far. But public transportation for our community is vital. We're the true working class community here. And so if we have hotels and we have this tourism industry that's going to boom, these people need to get around and get to work for their historically low-paying jobs in the tourism industry.
thank you, April. And I did look at the PDF and I really like the fact that they have an environmental justice policy. And when it comes to tourism in disadvantaged areas and all that. So where I'm like, that's Oceano. They're talking about
Right,
Oceano
that's why
there.
we really need a
Curbs,
voice
gutters,
on
and sidewalks.
Yes, they're talking about Oceano. I was all like, oh, yes, yes.
Well, I didn't see Oceano mentioned, April. I
It
asked.
doesn't, but everything, the environmental justice
But the
policy is
topics
there and it talks
themselves
about,
are about
yes.
what we need. Yeah.
No,
it
I
talks about
asked-
what you were referring to, Lucia, the safety and the health of individuals. It talks about that in there.
I'm sorry, but I mean, asked you, April, but then I'm sorry you were busy and never answered me. I didn't catch it. I didn't get it.
Get
You
what?
didn't see that, you didn't read the document?
I got the document and I opened and I read. I didn't see anything about Oceano. They even referred to Oceano.
Not exactly Oceano, Lucia, but they talk about they have an environmental justice policy in there, and they refer to priority projects for disadvantaged communities and communities that than
done
our
it.
coastal communities.
Great. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, April, for that. Wonderful.
Of course. And that should be one of the things that we have community outreach or subcommittee on within
Yes.
Oceano's community, not necessarily through the OAC, but in our community. We should have more public input to help guide the slow cog on this issue.
We need to have a committee about that. Yes, we need to have a
Yes.
committee.
Yeah, April, I would like you to inform them that we have a curb gutter and sidewalk committee that is working and coming together to get federal funding, and we want their help and we want their funding.
Yes. So
Exactly.
far, all we had done was just all the newer people like myself were getting up to speed on where they were at so far. And then now we're all going to be moving forward. And this is exactly that level we're at.
Thank you, April. So
Thank you.
can we, are we done here? We have someone motion, we're going on 7:30 to adjourn the meeting.
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Sheila.
I second it.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Uh,
Okay,
Very, very interesting and productive meeting.
very much.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Very
Thank you,
much.
everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
I know.